Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Just wanted to record something here for uploading later. Wanted to talk about the harvesting going on, because we're all, thanks to the birth certificates that they made, all the mothers who bore witness to the birth of their own children in 1933, or beginning in 1933, that made us all slaves on this slave ship that they call the United States of America. And let's see, McKinley Park, that's where we are here in Sacrament City. You guys can see the scenery. They got volleyballs going on over here. It's probably going to be the noise that you hear, people cheering and clapping in the background. But I want to make this really especially for this guy. His name is Ryan Upchurch. Ryan is going through it in, I think he's in Tennessee, the Corporation of Tennessee, where he is, I guess he's basically being targeted. And the reason that he's being targeted is because he is a talented performer who, you know, is a very creative guy and prolific songwriter. I can't say I'm a fan, because I'm only a fan of Yahweh and the purpose that Yahweh put me here for. I'm a fan of that, but I support I support other people who, you know, are here to do good things for mankind. Because in my view, mankind is really being harvested here by, let's just call them entities from a fourth or fifth dimension. Okay. So Ryan is being targeted because he is an independent artist. He's an independent artist who actually lives in the corporation, I said, of Tennessee. Well, Nashville, Tennessee is the home of country music, home of the Grand Ole Opry, all that stuff. And if you know anything about Cathy O'Brien, she was basically trafficked through the Nashville scene organization of what they call country music, and has told people about this probably in her book Trance-formation of America, which you can find on the internet in PDF form and read the whole thing. You don't have to buy anything. And so Cathy O'Brien blew the whistle on the the trafficking of children through the Nashville country music scene. And I can't remember the guy they married her off to, but his last name was Cox, C-O-X, Cox. And what I want to say is these families have ties, such as the Cox and the O'Brien family, and most likely the church, or Upchurch, or Downchurch, or anything with a church in it, is most likely a family that has ties to the secret brotherhood. And I'm not really sure I can say what that brotherhood is called, but because I'm planning to upload this on my Fluff Tube channel, and they only allow fluff on the Fluff Tube, and people such as myself get suppressed on the Fluff Tube, even the videos that they can't screen out, claiming that it violates their so-called community standards. And so Ryan, I'm not sure what he knows about the TI program, Targeted Individuals, but I'm here to tell you there are targeted individuals out here. Now, most people, when they see a targeted individual or they encounter a targeted individual, think that the targeted individual is someone who is mentally unstable. But I'm here to tell you that they're not just generally mentally unstable. What they are is targeted by what is known as gang stalkers. And the gang stalkers, well, the gang stalkers are people that receive compensation from the Brotherhood members who want to target that individual. So they go and they find gang stalkers and compensate them to destroy people's lives. Okay. And this is what is happening to Ryan Upchurch in the Corporation of Tennessee. Okay. Now, one of the things that people find unbelievable is that the best gang stalkers that could be found by the Brotherhood are often made up of the targeted individuals' immediate family, circle of friends. You get the picture, okay? Because those are the people who the targeted individual, and let's just call them TI, like TI, the TI trusts the most. And so it's been said, and I've heard it many times, that everybody has a price. Everybody has a price where they will sell, I don't want to say sell their soul, but they will sell out another person that they know, either in their family or in their circle of associates, for compensation. And the unbelievable part of it is that we are let me see, how can I say this? We are seduced to believe that life is a certain way when life is actually far from the white picket fence, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? And if you consider the fact Cathy O'Brien was AR'd and violated from the time she was a baby in her family in, I think she said it was Muskogee. What's the heck of that? Michigan? Yeah, Muskogee or something like that, Michigan, where her father was a worm farmer. And I'm sure they didn't need to set him up because he was probably doing what the postal investigator said he was doing, which was selling child porn or CP through the postal service. And they were able to use that, hang that over his head and say, okay, well, we won't prosecute you on this CP through the postal service if you compensate us with your daughter, Cathy, and put her in this program that we have. And of course, it meant for the worm farmer, he was now going to get preferential treatment. He was now going to get government contracts to, the local corporation, which is called municipality, where they lived in Michigan. And his life greatly improved off the backs of compensating, let's call them demons, with his children. And I think Cathy said she was the first to be offered up. And so when you understand that this is what happens in these, let's call them demonic families, that the first victims that they gain their financial improvement, step up from, is their own children, then you can see how it's reasonable to consider that these individuals who get involved with this brotherhood will sell you in a heartbeat, right? So that's what I want to say. I want to say, Ryan, your most likely TI situation is a result of your inner circle, whether they be friend, foe, family, has now been recruited and given a step up to expose your vulnerabilities and destroy you because you remain an independent artist. Okay? Just like they did to Tom McDonald? Tom McDonald, they put not independent artists in the category with his music to compete with his music so that they could keep him off the number one. And he has the backing of all the I don't know who it was, company, the record companies. They put they put a song from the record companies into the independent artist category just to stop his music, to try to stop his music from reaching the number one in the top 10 Billboard, okay, in his category. Which, don't quote me on it. I don't know if he's kind of doing rap, but it's kind of like it's rap. It's rap. So, how do I know these things? Is that, Kali Karen, that sounds kind of crazy. Well, you just look like a crazy person, walking through a rose garden, making up shit to talk about to try to be relevant. Well, I'm not here to try to be relevant. I'm only here because I've been saved through divine intervention just so I could be here for this time. Because if you look at all things that I've been through in my life, I shouldn't even be here now. I should not even be here. I could have died many times in my childhood, growing up in this I want to say an intersection of 4 of these bloodline families that I'm speaking of which I believe church is one. I can't give an example of because I don't have my genealogy research account anymore. I'm just trying to survive now, so I haven't been looking stuff up as I did when I was researching my own family history. Okay? But I'm sure if he took the time to go into ancestry.com or one of these other programs where you can research your genealogy, which everybody should be doing at this time, so they can reclaim and correct their status in the corporation of the United States of America. He could find out. Ryan is probably likely connected to people who founded the state of Tennessee, or we call it a state, but it's actually a corporation. All states are corporations. They're not country and state anymore. Everything is a corporation after 1871, which is part of the problem why they were able to do the old birth certificate trick on us. See, this is a place where people come to get married and stuff like that. It's called the Rose Garden in McKinley Park. And so in case anyone is watching this and they don't know, you can look up Ryan Upchurch on YouTube here, and you can look at some of the videos. What happened? The gist of what happened is that the inner circle of his was compromised. And I don't claim to know who it was that compromised these people, but this is how the program works. A person becomes a targeted individual by the powers that shouldn't be, and they either offer people money, compensation, or the people get in trouble with the code enforcements known as policy enforcers. They drive around in the cars turning on the red and blue lights as if everything was an emergency when it's not, just to give you fines and code violations. The policy enforcers, they get in trouble with the policy enforcers like Cathy O'Brien's dad did, and then they offer them a deal. And the price that they pay is to betray the targeted individual. And how do I know these things? How is it that I know these things and I'm not just making it up? Well, when you grow up, as I did, in the intersection of 4 of these bloodline families, and which I don't really say all the time what they are, but I'll tell you today. They're the Pearsons, the Wardens, the Warburgs, and the Collinses. So anybody who wants to go look it up to see who these 13 bloodlines are, and I'm saying that's not just one bloodline, there's 13 bloodlines that are in, I think, different geographic areas, but there's more than 13 bloodline families in the structure underneath the what is it, the Council of 300, the I don't know what all the names of them are, but they put their people on like the Rices. They had the Rice University, but then they had the Condoleezza Rice, and they had the Susan Rice, and recently stepping down from her position. Well, that's a dude. Susan Rice is a dude who was probably from Pakistan or someplace, and was all hairy with the mustache and all, with the young Barry Soetoro, if people know who Barry Soetoro is. These pictures all up on my Galileo 0723 Telegram channel. FluffTube, you can't put that stuff on FluffTube. I really like these multicolor roses. They're getting ready to really take off. You can see all the buds that have been on. We've had a lot of cold and rainy weather. So these things are a little behind schedule, and it smells. Some of them smell really nice. Some of them don't have smells, but it's a nice place to walk around. So they're the Council of 300, the Council of Foreign Relations, CFR, probably the HRC one, human rights, the human rights, something that starts with a C, like Hillary Rodham Clinton, HRC. It's the Human Rights Council or Human Rights Committee. The Human Rights Council is the one that is compensating or withholding money depending on whether these corporations, the big corporations like Bud Light are supporting the transgender. And they call it the Generation X. Well, the reason they call it Generation X is because they don't want you to know if you're a boy or a girl. So you'll be ripe for transhumanism. And you'll think it's cool when you're both a boy and a girl, like the man-woman that I saw last night working her post at a business that I was at. She probably took so much testosterone that her hair fell out. Her hair is like super thin, like she's a 70-year-old woman, and she's got it like he got it coiffed like a man. And then he had her breasts all bound up underneath of his or her shirt. It's a woman trying to turn herself into a man. So once you don't know whether you're a boy or a girl, you're ripe for the picking. And these are the Soros-funded HRC, CFR, and then they give out the money, right, and buy the advertising for all of the products, right, that gets sold through marketing, telling you that you need stuff, then you don't even need it. I love this flower. It's called bird of prey. Because when the flower opens up, it looks like a bird. Right. See? I don't know if you can see, but it's tall as I am. This one is tall as I am. Tall as I am. The people's house that I watched in Zimbabwe had one of these in their garden. It was cool. But they also had a bonsai garden where they had giant trees in little small dishes. I thought it was horrible. It was like enslaving the trees. I just got a bad vibe from that. So they had about like 50 what were supposed to be giant trees in little small pots. So this is how they target us, how they destroy the people who are standing up for, justice and freedom and human dignity. They stamp them with a TI, and then they go about lobbying the inner circle of the TI until they find enough people, right, to compromise their integrity and their loyalty to the TI. So I was going to say, Ryan is now like in a war with his own family. And I should say, they've pretty much declared war on him. But because he's an independent thinker and he is he's a very strong character, and he got where he is, with his fan base and his, I don't want to say financial, but his cash flow, let's say his cash flow situation, and his ease with which he can navigate the earth plane. He got there through his own talent and through developing his own bond, pretty much, with the people who support him, and people who come to his concerts, and people who buy his music, and people who give him encouragement, because these, he worked, I don't want to say he worked his ass off, but he worked hard for many years and came from pretty much nothing. And I want to say, I'm really proud of him. He doesn't know me. But I'm saying I pretty much came from a similar type of beginning. And I wasn't in Tennessee, but I was in Virginia. And my generation was the first generation to be born not in the DC General Hospital, outside of the federal foreign land known as Washington, D.C., which is where my mother was born. Okay. And so I identify with Ryan because, he lives there in the corporation of Tennessee, and it's a connecting state to where I started out in the corporation of Virginia. And I don't know why they gave me those red shoes to wear when I was young, but they said it was something because I had something wrong with my feet, and which I still do have something wrong with my feet. And those who know me know that I've been in a struggle for I'm going on the 4th year now of regenerating my feet that were being destroyed by some unknown, phantom, undiagnosed disease that no doctor ever could say what it was or tell me how to treat it. So I had to treat it myself. So that's why I identify with Ryan. His music is good. You know, if I had a player to play it on, but all my stuff was stolen, lost, or thrown away when I lost my house in the foreclosure. And what I had left, the demon stole from me out of my storage while I was paying for him and me to have our stuff in storage while we lived in the van, being homeless here in the Sacrament city. I see they got rid of the fountains. This pond used to have fountains. But they don't have fountains anymore, and it kind of looks nasty because you see all this stuff floating in the water. But I think right there you can see, right there, you can see where it used to spray the water up. So it looks like some kind of circulation is going on there, but the ducks probably love it. Ducks probably didn't care that there was a fountain. The fountain was just for us. But anyway, I used to come to this park and take pictures and stuff like that when I was over going to the university. But anyway, so yeah, I might have his music if I had something to play it on, but everything I had to play music on was taken, lost, or thrown away. And so whatever I get now gets taken by the demon on my couch, so I don't bother to buy myself anything really. I just bought this car because I don't want to be walking, especially since my feet have a disease and caused me a lot of pain and time to get them where they are today, where I could walk around almost pain-free. Sometimes more pain than others. Some days more pain, some days less pain. But a lot of people do buy Ryan's music, and they come to his concerts, and you know, he's a collaborator with other independent artists, and this is the reason why they powers that be are targeting him now. This is why his inner circle has been compromised, and his mom was buying houses for people that Ryan didn't even know, and I guess they had a falling out. They had a falling out at some point. And when Ryan took over, him and his friend, I'm not sure who the friend, Chase or somebody, took over what his mom had been running for him and managing, they discovered all these properties that were in Ryan's name. And I saw one video where he went to knock on the door of one of these properties, and he didn't record the people, but he did ask them questions and then came back and made a video about it. Like, you know, he was trying to figure out, like, who did these people know who Ryan knew, and he traced it back to, okay, this is my family who's supposed to, you know, love me and care for me, is out here spending my money that I worked my butt off to get, and not even telling me, putting people in these houses that Ryan didn't even know. And so these are the people, what I refer to as hangers on. They smile in the face of the talented one while stabbing the talented one in the back at the same time. And so this is what happened between Ryan and his mom. And pretty much Ryan and his dad, only it wasn't that his dad was taking his property. It was that his dad pretty much didn't give a shit about him until he was rich. And that's what he just said on his most recent video that I watched. Was the first time his father said, "I love you, son," was after he was rich. Okay? In which that's fucked up. So, this is what I want. I wanted to make this video about the targeted individual program and how they operate. And I think I've pretty much covered everything what I wanted to say, because people need to understand how ruthless and soulless some of these people are. And then when you look into these families, you could say, oh, well, you know, everybody's not like that. Well, that's true. That's true. You can come from an evil bloodline family, or even 4 of them, like I do. It doesn't mean you're evil, and it doesn't mean that you don't have a soul, but most of these bloodline people are evil, and they don't have a soul, and they'll steal from anybody. Basically, is what I want to say. They'll steal from anybody. They'll throw anybody under the bus. They'll lie right to your face. And to me, those kind of people don't have souls, because if they had a soul, they would be convicted by that type of behavior, that kind of treatment of others. And since these people, you know, these what I call locust people, because I call them locust people, I have my own name for them, or demons. They're either locust people or they're demons. If they'll sell out their own children, what do you think they will do to you for compensation from those who seem to have an endless supply of compensation, right? So I'm glad that Ryan has got his forensic financial accountant hired and working for him to go over his records and stuff with a fine-tooth comb, because he trusted people that should have been trustworthy, and they became compromised. And I believe he'll get it sorted out, and I believe that enough people there love him and support him, who are real people. He calls it he has a name for his group of fans. They call them the Creek Squad, which I think is very fitting, because Tennessee, I'm sure, like Virginia had, there's a lot of creeks there, a lot of creeks, and it's a source of fun, and people, you know, go fishing. You can go crayfishing in creeks. You can look for, you know, different kind of creatures in there. You can you do all sorts of things at creeks, and they're usually not too far from the house, so you can actually walk to them. You don't have to have a car like a lot of people. I certainly didn't have a car available to me when I was a young kid or a young child growing up in the Corporation of Virginia. So Creek Squad is very fitting. And the majority of the comments on Ryan's channel are all in support of him. And I think that is really, it's really uplifting for me. I love to see that because, you know, it's one of the things, if you've been through such a sad and tragic, you know, one tragedy to the next kind of life like I've had, and, you know, you're still not a bad person, and you're still not cursing God and blaming others and all this kind of stuff that the locust people do. Seeing people supporting Ryan even before he got in, you know, discovered all the betrayal that he's discovered at this point. I'm sure he hasn't discovered all of it yet, because I think they were operating for quite some time. But it's uplifting and gives me hope to see so many real people, you know, supporting him and giving him encouragement to, you know, stay true to himself and who he came here to be, to the earth plane to be, Ryan Upchurch. You guys, a lot of this stuff, not Ryan's stuff, but a lot of my research is published on my Telegram channel, Galileo 0723, and I also run the fan channel, Dark Journalist Ideas Room, and both of those channels have a chat element. If you join the chat by posting comments on one of my posts, you will become a member of the chat, and then you can post things also. So I'll know that I'm truly a TI if I start getting trolls on my chats from giving this information out as to where you can find me. But I want to thank everybody who watched my video, who stopped by. If you share this, I would appreciate it. If you want to leave a comment, if you watch the video, at least freaking check the fucking thumbs up, okay? Because otherwise it just looks like people are watching my video, stalking me, never leaving a comment and never leaving a check mark. So I want you to know, I could have been dead many times over, but God saved me to be here because I have a unique view of, you know, the world based on my 4 bloodline families that I come from. Those are my 4 grandparents' names: Warden, Pearson, Warburg, and Collins. And I've talked a little bit about the tragedy, the sacrifice that my people that I loved have suffered through, and that's why there's nobody here for me to ask anything, nobody here for me to get any help from, because the people I love were sacrificed, because we came from the sacrificial branch, not the wealthy branch and the Lucian evil branch that sacrificed others for compensation. I come from the branch that was the one sacrificed, because they all want you to sacrifice your firstborn and all this stuff to get promoted into the brotherhood. So check out my Telegram channels. I hope you enjoyed the Rose Garden. One day I want to do a video on this Masonic building. It's called the Clooney Center. It's called the Clooney Center now, but it's after someone named McKinley, which this park is named after. And so who knows what kind of skeletons are buried under there. But let's see. I can say, what is this? This is actually at Alhambra and McKinley Boulevard. And if you look at these gingerbread houses all across the street, they're probably selling for $1 million each, all these houses. So, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening to my video. And, hope to see you in the abodes of the future.